Now let's talk about Senegal's fortunes, and I'm joined by political analyst Thomas Lesaffre. Thomas, good morning, and thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you joining me. So 2 weeks ago, here's a man who was jailed, and now he is president-elect rather. Talk to me about this change in his fortunes.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of the big stories coming out of Senegal right now. The next prisoner becoming president in Africa. Those are things that we have seen before in other situations, and it always announced some radical politics coming. The strong point here is that the Senegalese democratic system is really strong and solid. The current president finishes 2 terms and wanted to extend to a third term. However, the Constitutional Court said it is illegal, it is anti-constitutional, and he decided to release the political prisoners that are coming out of this new political party called PASDEF that were really strong. And it turns out that they won the election in the first run, when normally you have 2 runs for similar elections in Senegal, but they won with more than 50% of the vote, so they got elected directly. And the great thing is the opponents, the presidential candidate, the favorite of the current president, wanted his favorite to win, but the favorite said, Amadouba, he said, no, we have lost, congratulate the new president. So this is an amazing political transitions coming out of Senegal at the time where there's many coups d'etat in West Africa, and West African youth are calling for a change in politics. For the very first time, we will see change from election and not from coup d'etat, which is really exciting.
This is, really interesting. As you say, there certainly seems to be a buoyancy and an air of expectation for this now, Africa's youngest president. But there was a lot, Thomas, in the lead up to these elections, some of which we've just talked about, pre-electoral crisis, many people killed, some maimed. There's been a lot of instability in the lead up for it. He's got quite a long journey to walk in terms of bringing people together again.
Definitely. Less than 2 weeks ago, that man didn't even have a smartphone to make calls, to organize the campaign. He was the two of the campaign. President Macky Sall I've selected a candidate that he wished would have followed him. However, in the political turmoil that he created by these decisions, he had to jail more than 1,000 party supporters, and all of this put the judiciary system under strong strain. Many Senegalese candidates, many Senegalese observers, including Senegalese partners in the regions, called for the president to stop and to maintain Senegal within that long trajectory of elections that works and that function. It's been 78 years that Senegalese vote without interruption. And the current President Macky Sall wanted to do a third term, but however, as I said, the Constitutional Court didn't allow him to, and the ex-president now followed the Constitutional Court, which I think is a really great way to put the judiciary system at the center. For our audience also in South Africa and in the rest of the continent, this is someone that have similar idea than someone like Julius Malema in South Africa or Bobi Wine in Uganda. But both of those opponents struggle to reach power. In Uganda, they struggle because the president doesn't allow the campaign to happen. When in South Africa, the campaign happens, but it didn't reach enough vote. In Senegal, they managed to get more than 50% of the vote and establish a clear directions. We say no more corruptions, no more problem with the judiciary system. Judiciary system need to remain neutral, and they will call for more actions.
That's quite an astounding result, as you're sharing with us there, Thomas. Just the level and numbers and volumes of people who actually turned out on voting day to cast their ballots. Let's talk about some of the institutional issues plaguing Senegal. We know it's one of the most indebted, it is a heavily indebted country. It's got a number of issues on the economic front where there have been declines. You think about tourism, you think about mining, construction, agriculture and fishing. As much as you say, the judiciary seems to be in a more consolidated position now, and that affirmation has been given by the election results and how Senegal actually got here. What happens on the economic front in really rallying the Senegalese economy right now?
This is also something that is clear in not only Senegal, but a phenomenon that happened in many African countries. A lot of countries have had strong GDP growth in the last 10 years or 15 years. President Macky Sall managed to have 5% GDP growth over his two-term mandates, right? So that means that Senegal have built a lot of infrastructure, beautiful infrastructure, strong infrastructure, but also in the same time, we have this paradigm where the GDP is growing, but yet the population is suffering, and the inflations lead the population to eat less and to sometimes even go to starving. And in Senegal, that's what has been happening. The economy is growing, the numbers are beautiful, but people in the street, the real people, the middle class and the poor, do not see any consequences. And we have seen that in different West African countries. For instance, Ivory Coast also have recorded high level of GDP growth that did not replicate to the populations. And that's where Bassirou Faye, new president elected of Senegal, have said we are going to try to stop this. And this is a solution that they could find if they manage to find a way to redistribute the wealth that the economy creates to more and more people. Then this is a solution that the whole continent will look at, because the situation is the same. When neoliberal politics have been applied in for example, Ivory Coast, Uganda, Senegal, the result and the numbers came out quite great, but people didn't feel like economic growth. And this is a problem that for the very first time will be tackled by elected president, a young elected president, that will look at the economy and say, no, here is one of the issues. We cannot make as much wealth in Senegal without redistributed better. To look at the redistribution of that wealth.
Thomas, a really final word. Is it time now for a turnaround and a new, more prosperous chapter in Senegal's history?
We definitely hope so. We are looking, many observers are looking at the situation as one of the last chance to break that system, that economic system that creates great growth for the economy, but that never reciprocate to the people. And we're hoping that they will find a solution and revigorate democratic elections. Because one of the questions, the main question here is, do we trust military leaders to do this job and to redistribute wealth better, or do we trust elected leaders? And Senegal have chosen to try elected leaders, while other countries of the region have not yet. So we're definitely looking at it as a way to measure solutions to counter like neoliberal problems in Africa.
Thomas Lesaffre, thank you very much for talking to us and sharing your political analysis with us in the aftermath now of this victory there. And it's a story we'll continue to look at, because it is quite a momentous moment for Senegal and its future.